There we go. Okay, please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
under the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to these Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please join me as I pray. Again, Father, we're thankful for the blessings of this new day and the day of life you've given us, the breath and the rain you've provided. And Father, as we go through these times, there's so much we don't understand. And Lord, it's not important that we know exactly what our future is going to be, as long as you know. And it's not important that we don't understand everything that's happening in our lives, as long as you understand. And it doesn't really matter, Lord, if we don't have control of every single event in our lives around us, as long as you're in control. So, Father, what it falls down to is that if we trust you and obey the wisdom that you give us, that you'll get us through all these difficult times. So for these commissioners this morning, Lord, I just pray that they listen to your voice, that they're obedient to whatever you tell them to do, and the decisions they make benefit all the citizens of this county, and we give you the glory in advance. In your name we pray.
Amen. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. We do have a quorum. Any citizens to be heard? Who's that? Well, I believe she'll want to talk as the points come up. She's numbered. We'll let her discuss when the agenda item comes up. That being said, we have the consent agenda item. Item number 4 should have been taken out before, but it wasn't, so we'll just strike that. Do I have a
Motion to approve the other three, Judge.
motion made and seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. County reports, approved, disapproved, first quarter 2020 report, Rockport Cultural Arts District. We do have that in our packet, and we do have Ms. Day available for discussion. Anybody want to? Ms. Day, do you want to add anything to this report?
No, sir. It's pretty self-explanatory. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
All right, thank you. Any questions from anybody? I have a motion.
Make a motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made. Second, Commissioner Castelline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing road and bridge to advertise for request for proposal for the purchase of a front end loader. Move to approve. Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approve, disapprove, authorizing road and bridge to advertise and request for a proposal to purchase a street sweeper. Move to approve.
I'll second that, but I've got a question. The street sweeper, do we have a street sweeper now? Okay, so this is just a replacement. Okay.
Can we get,
Motion made.
before we go on, can we just get a quick idea of the dollars involved?
Yes, ma'am. David, they're not cheap, any of this.
I think the front end loader is 200,000. I think that's probably on the high end of that.
That mic's not on.
The front end loader,
What
did
about
you
the
say about 100?
200,000 for a front end loader. I think that's on the high side, but that's what I'm thinking. Weed sweeper at 50,000.
You cut out something thousand?
Got funds in your,
50.
David, I couldn't quite
So
hear you.
250 total.
Good. And you have it in your budget?
The sweeper, I do not have it in my budget. I am hoping to use funds from the 2016 CO. I've been trying to get it in my budget for 3 years.
He's worked hard at it.
Yeah.
That 2016 CO did include equipment, road equipment.
Yes, sir, it did include road equipment and there are funds in there. that-
Okay, fine. Make a motion to approve both 6 and 7. Well, 6 has already been approved, right? 7?
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Approve, disapprove with conditions on the concept plan for Sandgren Estate subdivision development south of Rattlesnake Point Road, west of Salt Lake Road. And this is an item Ms. Russo also wants to discuss. Kate, our Kat's not here. Oh, Kat is on. Kat, are you online or somewhere? Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can't.
Yep. You're kind of going on and off, Kat.
I'm here and I can hear y'all. If you can hear me, just let me know if you have any questions regarding this concept plan, also known as a preliminary plat.
Well, can you just tell us quickly what it's about?
Yes, ma'am. This is a subdivision for half-acre lots with single-family homes. It is off of Rattlesnake Road, so you wouldn't see it directly from Rattlesnake Road, but if you look at the attached plat, there's a general location. This would be just single-family homes. We would, after approval of the preliminary plat or concept plan, we'll be finalizing engineer review. So far, we've been going back and forth with the designers, and we are close to having those engineering plans finalized. So it's on trajectory, on schedule to be ready by the time of the final plat. This is in the Rockport ETJ, and so it will also have to go before the Rockport City Council. So staff has been coordinating with the Rockport staff to make sure that our timeline is all matched up. But we've, so far, we have not had any issues, and so we're recommending to approve this concept plan, otherwise known as a preliminary plat.
It will come back for the final plat, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Kat, are there any unusual circumstances that we seem that we're getting at, drainage, roads, anything like that, or is it pretty clean?
It's pretty cut and dry. We are one of the what we are working on before being able to move forward with the final plat, is verifying the drainage plans. But it would be 2 public roads that would be built to the county standards and then adopted through this plat. And but there is adequate space, and these are half-acre lots. There's not a lot of concern about not being able to comply with the county's drainage requirements. However, that's what we'll have finalized in the final engineered plans.
Okay, well, I see on the plat here that I guess it would be the south side, we show a drainage ditch. Is that what you were talking about earlier, David? On the south side of Saginaw, or what is it, Stangan? The south side would be the Bay Lane. It's the south side of the road, of Gen 6 Lane or whatever that is. Oh, okay, well, I misunderstood. I thought y'all said that there was, I see what you're saying, bye-bye.
It was a 60-foot right of way with a ditch down each side.
Right.
And they're
That's it.
actually, they're gonna build a county road from where that cul-de-sac is all the way to Rattlesnake Point Road. It's actually gonna be 2 roads, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank
I'd
you.
move to approve the preliminary.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Ms. Russo, are you online?
Pat, we can't hear you if you're there.
Yeah.
It's your speaker turn.
Yeah. Ms. Russo, are you online?
I am now. Can you hear me?
Do
Yes,
you have
we
any-
can now.
Yes.
All right. Well, the link didn't work at first, so I joined you a little late. I have just 2 items I wanted to ask about this agenda item. Is this plan available for public viewing and comment? Is one question.
The preliminary plat is available. The engineering plans would be available for viewing, but they're not available to give out because they're considered proprietary information. So if you wanted to come by Road and Bridge, we'd be happy to schedule a time for them to be looked at. We just can't give out copies because that's the proprietary right of the designers. But we can definitely have you come by and take a look at them.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. The second is, I know that over the last several years, many people from that area have come to Commissioners Court to complain about the poor condition of Rattlesnake Road. And on that list of roads that David Reed presented to the court, I believe at the last Commissioners Court meeting, Rattlesnake Road is shown as being in poor condition and that there are lots of accidents out there. Are there going to be improvements made to that road, and whose expense would cover the improvements?
Right now,
That's gonna be
Aransas
covered.
County Road and Bridge is working with the Long-Term Recovery Group to apply to secure funding to do improvements on Rattlesnake Point Road. It's through the CDBG MIT program, or excuse me, CBDG DR program. So that's actually, I believe will be progressing with all of the CBDG DR projects in the next couple of months. I think we're at the stage of finalizing those engineering contracts with the state.
But I think we
I
mentioned.
think
those-
we've already received,
Well, yeah, but it's not signed yet.
we've already received contracts from the GLO on that. So we'll be signing those probably within the next 30 days or so. And that work will then move forward on Rattlesnake Point Road. What was the total for that? About $6.4 million, wasn't it, David?
Right.
Okay.
At the,
Yeah,
At the last
it would
meeting-
include resurfacing the road and drainage improvements as well.
at the last meeting 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that would be probably a 2-year time frame to get the repairs actually done, didn't we?
Right.
Okay, so the money is here,
We
but
have
it'll, can expect the repairs right away, but they are in progress.
The money's not here yet, but yes, ma'am, right, you're right on both. The money's on its way, and it would take approximately 2 years to complete all the projects, if things go right.
All right, thank you.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Approve, disapprove with conditions the proposed replat of 2351 Market Street and 2301 FM Market Street lots. Cat?
Yes, sir. This is another replat that is in the ETJ with the city of Rockport. The reason it's coming before the Commissioners Court is because if we consider it the way the city is considering it, it is considered a minor plat and does not require variance. Because it is the frontage that we are using on Lot 4C is based off of an egress-ingress easement that was previously platted. We wanted the Commissioners Court to have the final approval on it because it is an uncommon situation. Our order does allow for us to use the right-of-way for previously platted road systems. However, the lack of clear black and white definition on what a road system is the reason why this is being brought before you all today for final determination. And so it's not something we anticipate seeing a lot of, but just to reduce any chances of any setting any precedents of private right-of-way easements like this going through as a minor plat without being first approved, we wanted the Commissioners Court to have the determination on it.
Kat, now we talked about that being that roadway right now actually being tied to the title of the property as something that is not just that somebody can come in and say, well, I don't want to do that with my property. It's actually tied all the way back to 1069, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Properties.
Yes, sir.
Part of the deed.
On the initial plat, all of the property owners signed and agreed to that easement. And so it cannot be, it transfers with the property. There's a private owner could not block access to the interior lots.
That's current owners and future owners?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I move to approve.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded, Commissioner Castleline. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve, disapprove, awarding bid for grant administrative services for Aransas County for the 2020 Texas County Transportation Infrastructure Funds administered by the Texas Department of Transportation. You're still on the map, Kat.
Yes, sir. We went out for bids for grant administrators for the county, the CTIF, a program through TxDOT for using energy funds for improving county roads. We received 2 bids, and I apologize there was no agenda memo on this because of the short time frame. We did the selection on Friday. We received 1 bid from Langford Community Management Services and the other from GrantWorks, and had an evaluation with staff. And we are recommending GrantWorks be awarded this bid.
The amount.
How much
Kat?
is the bid?
How much is
It
it?
would all be covered through the grant. It's based on the percentages of it's based on our allocation, but it would not exceed the amount of the grant.
But how much is the bid?
It's just a percentage, it's not a bid.
Well, I understand how much we're applying for, 147, but the administrative services contract, how are they going to be paid? How much is it?
3%. I apologize. It took me a moment to find it. Yeah.
3%.
What was the determining factor between the two?
Honestly, the big determining factor was that Langford missed a couple of the requested documentation that we wanted in the bid. They had comparatively for services, both looked good and were almost equal. GrantWorks' previous experience with Aransas County did give them a bit more positive marks, but in the end, it was the previous experience with GrantWorks and the lacking of some of the required documentation with Langford.
Thank you.
What is the percentage, Kat? Is it 3%?
3%.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Make a motion to approve, John.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R-14-2020, a resolution of Aransas County, Texas, authorizing the award of professional environmental services contract for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Project through the GLO for Hurricane Harvey recovery to Wild Associates in the amount of $7,250 for the micro hospital component, phase 1 and 2 environmental site assessment.
I have questions about this one.
Okay.
I thought this was
Pardon me?
one that I have questions about this one. I thought this was one we weren't going to have up on the agenda until we had nailed down a little bit the ownership status of the underlying real estate that the environmental study pertains to.
We are just moving through the process because of the time.
Mic.
It's on. We are just moving through the process. Let me start back over again. It's just a procedural thing. We're moving through the process because it takes so long to get this done. In the grant program, it's moving along, but we're just moving through get all of these little odds and ends lined up so we can move forward once the award has been made.
Right, but we don't
It's
have.
too much time taken.
We don't have title to this real estate, and as I understand it, we don't even yet have an option on it, nor have we told the public what the property is. So I understand doing some procedural stuff in the background, but actually awarding a contract for environmental services on the real estate seems like jumping the gun. We could do it in 2 weeks or whenever we get the option or the title or even the grant or something. But this is real estate we don't own. and have not revealed to
Exactly
the
right.
public. I think it's premature. I would move that we table it until we have an option or something has changed with the real estate status. And we ought to be revealing the real estate because I don't see how it's confidential at this point.
Well,
What's the downside of tabling it right now?
The downside is just time. The environmental takes about 6 months. So if they put us on a 2-year fuse, our time frame is clicking. And so we need to be able to move forward with this as soon as possible. That's why we put it on the agenda.
Can you give us an evaluation of the grant or the micro hospital where we're at? What-
Right now, it has not been approved. It has not been approved.
We spent quite a bit of money already on, kind of just thinking we're gonna get the grant.
Jackie, can you have some input?
Well, my understanding is with doing the contract, we still would not give them a notice to proceed until we were ready.
Exactly.
This would just be the contract itself,
is-
but they would not receive a
They would-
notice to
They
proceed.
wouldn't receive any funds or
No.
go ahead.
And we-
until later.
or would we sign it until then?
Look at
So
it.
this is just
The
the
motion,
approval to sign at the appropriate time.
Get it approved, get ready to go. Everything needs to be in line. If they approve the grant, we roll. That's
two
situation.
things. Two things. I actually reviewed their proposals, and I don't remember hearing 6 months. It was more like a couple. And two, the motion really, if we're going to proceed on that basis, the motion should be stated clearly that all we're doing is choosing among the 6 or 8, applicants, and specifically saying they won't be authorized to proceed or be given any funds until the real estate ownership situation has been addressed, so that the authorization is quite clear, it's contingent.
Okay, can we do that?
I guess we can.
I'll
And,
second that
and
motion.
You want to do that? You want to do that in form of a motion?
I move, I think I move to amend the previous motion, if we've made it already, to include a contingency preventing either payment of any funds or authorization to Wild to proceed until we have had another commissioners meeting regularizing the status of the title to the real estate that this refers to. And
Commissioner, contingent upon the acceptance of the contract to proceed and the signing of the contract. That would shorten all that down from the GLO. In other words, we'd have to receive the commitment from the GLO and have to sign it and accept it before we commission these people to move forward.
that is only one of the things that I think needs to happen before we can move forward with this contract. It would certainly be great if we had actually had been awarded the funds from the grant funder. But the main issue in my view is that we don't own this property, and apparently we don't yet have an option on this property, and we have not revealed to the public what this property is, which I think we should do now. I'm only avoiding blurting it out so we can discuss it. I have expressed concerns before that we've moved far ahead on this real estate and have never yet told the public what it is. And I don't think it's confidential or something that's restricted to a closed session, but I'm inviting discussion on that before I just tell everyone what it is. I've been told it's actually in the county record, not private, it's public. So we should be telling people what we're doing.
Well, Commissioner Lubbock, I don't believe that it's a secret in Aransas County. I mean, people know the property that we're looking at.
Then we should say
Yes,
so
we haven't.
on the record.
Can we
The only
say
reason
so on
not
the
to
record?
would, if it's not a secret, let's just say what it is.
Commissioners, I would just advise you that you've gotten pretty far afield of the topic. We're here to disapprove or approve a resolution.
Okay.
That's the vote, not who, what, when, and why, and
All
what
right.
needs to be done.
All right,
The
you're right. We got way off.
Contingencies
So-
that I'm proposing solve a lot of those issues. I think we ought not to approve it even contingently unless we can discuss clearly what those contingencies are. And they're not just the grant fund. They are also the title, the identification of the property, and the fact that we either have title or have an enforceable option on the real estate.
All right, you
Well,
make a
not to-
motion to table? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the
Yes.
resolution actually states down there in section 2 that all projected related service contracts or commitments made with the above named service provider are dependent upon the award of the CDBG-DR funds and successful negotiation of a contract with the service provider.
Yes, that's with the service provider, not with the owner of the real estate, which we do not now own. I'm not raising a grant issue. I'm raising a real estate ownership issue, which is a
Well,
different part.
the situation there is it's going to have to pass these environmental studies before we would actually own the property.
Exactly.
I am uncomfortable authorizing environmental services to be done on a piece of real estate. We have not told the public what the real estate is yet and have not entered into negotiations to buy yet. I can understand that some money can be spent while you're just analyzing different possible pieces of real estate, but we seem to have settled on a particular.
I believe, Ms. Commissioner, that when we approved the original option on this property, we stated what our intentions were at that point in time.
Did not identify the owner of the property or the address of the property. I tried to get us to, and I was refused. We only did it in closed session. It's never been told to the public. That's what I'm asking for now.
I'm not sure about that, but I think that the option is public record.
Once again, Commissioner
Not-
Squirt.
The option is not,
the
the option.
agenda
We're getting
items-
our lawyer says we're getting way above our capability on this discussion. The motion, the agenda item is for a motion to approve or
Table.
disapprove.
And I moved to table.
Motion's made to table,
I'll second the motion table.
motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Aye. Aye. All right, 3-2.
3-2, which way? I couldn't
want-
hear. Thank you.
3-2 to table.
Judge Mills?
Yes,
Judge
ma'am.
Mills?
Oh, yeah, you had something to say too. I'm sorry.
Well, I had a couple of questions. If the item has been tabled, I will save the questions until it returns, but I just didn't want you to forget that I
Okay.
did have a couple of more agenda items that I wanted to ask about.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
I'm sorry. All right, discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R 15/2020. A resolution authorizing the hiring of a construction management agent for downtown anchor project. Is William online?
I don't think he's on the line. I think
Okay,
I'm
John,
handling
go
it.
for it.
The downtown anchor, the CMA construction manager agent, we negotiated his contract. The architect is at the point now where he's ready for him. And so we're ready to move forward with this. So we're asking the court to authorize the hiring of the CMA.
Is the contract and the agreed upon price within the range that?
Yes, yes, sir.
Move to approve.
Motion made,
Second.
second. Commissioner Smith, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorize the county judge to sign a contract with Broadus and Associates for proposal construction management agent services for supporting the implementation of the downtown anchor project contract not to exceed $704,000.
It'll be for the county's portion and what we call the plaza, which is also the county's portion. So it'll be for both pieces.
Yes.
Yes.
Only a portion of it is.
Yeah, there's some of it we have to pay out, but
If you'll recall, Commissioner, the situation with courthouses and things like that, the government doesn't rebuild them, federal government doesn't rebuild them,
Right.
state government doesn't rebuild them.
Right.
So a lot of this downtown anchor project is going to be funded by debt that the county will have to issue.
A portion of it.
portion of it, yeah. Okay, motion. Did I hear a motion?
Judge Mills, I had a
Question-
couple
well,
of
I think you had a
questions.
motion.
Judge Mills?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was gonna go to that, but I
Okay.
need a motion in a second before we discuss.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made, second,
Second.
second. Okay, Ms. Russo?
Thank you. Is the $704,000 payment that will be made the total amount that Broadus will be receiving?
It's a percentage, but yes,
It's a percentage, but is it the full percentage that they will
It's
be
not to,
receiving?
it's not to exceed 704,000.
yeah, it's not to exceed. Thank you.
And
Okay,
it's a percentage that would be based on the final bid construction
Yes,
cost.
Yes.
right.
And what, do you know what
percent
percentage
based on
that
the
is?
final construction cost. And then are there
4%.
Right.
available for the public to see the downtown anchor project?
Pardon me? You broke up.
Are there plans available on the downtown anchor project that are available to the public for viewing?
Yes, ma'am. We plan on going public real soon.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Preliminary plans
Preliminary
are pretty
plans
close.
are coming out as soon as
But they're
possible.
not available right now. Correct?
not
They are
right-
not
right
available right
now.
now.
They're not available in their final form, that's for sure.
Right, but
Are-
are the preliminary plans available or no, not yet?
They will be, Ms.
No, not
Russo, they
yet,
will be
is that-
soon.
No, not yet.
Are we talking a few
You don't
weeks
have-
or what do you think? John, were you, by soon, a few
First
weeks, a
part
few
of
months?
June.
Yeah,
First part of June.
we're gonna do a presentation the first part of June.
Yeah.
I think
First
the first
meeting.
session.
Thank you.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R16, 2020, a resolution to accept Help America Vote Act, emergency funds to prevent, prepare for, and respond to any coronavirus for the 2020 federal elections. Michelle, you want to tell us about this?
Sure. Good morning,
Let me
everybody.
get a motion first. I'm sorry. Jumping ahead.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made. Second. Now,
So this money is being given to us by Secretary of State's office. This is going to be CARES Act money that was being passed down from federal level. This money can be used for anything we need for the next two elections and to get us through November. So part of this grant, I had to submit, how I foresee being able to spend this money. My initial would be to spend a majority of it, bringing extra people in to help us prepare for ballot by mails. We are anticipating ballot by mail requests to start coming in at full force, especially, I don't know if you guys been following the news, but there's several lawsuits out there right now pertaining to allowing voters to request a ballot by mail should they fear coronavirus. So they've told us, be prepared for that. That money can also be used several different ways, buying PPE, buying PPE or additional voting equipment, however we see, our need to be.
Michelle, just maybe I should wait until the next item, but in your budget, and looking at what the additional costs are going to be, is your budget going to be sufficient to cover the 20% county match that's required for this grant?
I believe so. Once we do some line item transfers, there's quite a bit. For example, like our conference money that we have in there, we could use that because all the conferences for this year have been canceled. I also have money in my
Jackie, you concur
Supplies.
with that?
Yes, sir, I'll look at it. I'm not sure what the exact dollars would be, but I will look at the transfers on that.
Michelle, I have a question. And it may
Okay.
be that maybe when this comes up with the next agenda item, but in reading it through the agenda, I wasn't quite sure if this 26,000 was to cover only the special COVID costs like ballots and masks and so forth, but was it also going to cover the digitization of the paper records of old voters registrations, or is that a different budget dollar number?
That's a
From a
different fund that's coming in.
Okay, I won't complicate this with it then.
Right.
One other quick question. Are we going to have to support the use of that 26,000 by telling them exactly what we spent it on, or is that?
Oh, we have to, yes, you have, basically what they're going to do is anytime we have an expenditure, we have to share it with the state. And so the state's going to review all the records and, approve it.
So this is up to $26,000.
It's up to that dollar amount, yes, $26,136.62.
Okay, motion was made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, I guess.
Only on 14, Judge. You got to go through it for 15.
Pardon?
That vote was on 14, item 14.
Yeah. Okay. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing county judge to sign sign a 2020 Help America Vote Act, and CARES Act sub-grant to Texas counties, authorizing U.S. Congress under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, which will provide $26,136.62 of support to Aransas County elections for the 2020 federal election cycle.
Motion to approve.
Motion made,
Second.
second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
So-
Aye.
Let me ask a question. I didn't quite get my voice in there before we all voted, but just to
Oh, I'm sorry.
clarify, what those last two items were basically related, and the 26,000 pertains to the COVID expenses.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, I guess. Discuss,
Yes.
approve, disapprove, authorize the county judge to sign a contract with Data Bank for the conversion of voter registration files to digital format for the preservation of county documents to be funded by state matched and authorized unspent state cybersecurity grant funds from the Texas 2018 Help America Vote Act.
Does this mean that it's not going to impact our budget at all?
Right.
Not at all. It's covered 100%.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, Commissioner Cheney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Question.
Wait, please. All right, so this is also a have a grant, but just a separate one, and does it have a number attached to it, a dollar number? Let me ask first, let me split that in half. Is this a separate HAVA grant? It's not the 26,000, a separate HAVA grant?
Separate.
It's a separate grant.
Separate one to cover what she was asking for previously.
Right,
That
but from the
cost
same,
About 30,000.
Well, this
it-
one it was a little over 25,000. So the one for Data Bank is a little over $25,000.
so it's from the same
I
program,
can
but a
get you the
different grant.
figure.
It's from the same program, but a different grant. They just both happen to be close to the same amount. One's about 26,000, one's about 25,000, and they're from the same program.
This is going to come out of the cybersecurity money that was issued
totally
to the
different.
state in 2018. So Secretary of State's office is dividing it among the counties.
So there's no
Got it.
direct cost to us on that.
It's a
I
separate
understand that.
grant.
It is from the same program, HAVA, but this one is a cybersecurity grant, a separate subsection of that same program. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm just asking. Okay, got it. And it's
Sure.
budget neutral. The state's paying for it.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No
Motion was
matching
made.
funds, in other words? No matching funds, in
No,
other words,
no.
Michelle? It's
100%, 100% grant.
okay. Thank you.
Motion
That's all my
made and
questions.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a contract with Vista Solutions for professional services, including license subscription and support of data bank needed to complete the conversion of the voter registration files to digital format to be funded by the state funds that we were just talking about.
Motion to approve.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
I have a question on that one.
All right.
This will take us through all of the digitizing of the voter registration.
Exactly.
So this is from time eternal to this point.
Right.
Okay. And then from here on, we'll enter into contracts each year for someone to maintain those files.
No,
Well,
we
we-
maintain it in our
They'll
office
be in
every
our
day.
files. Okay. All right. That was what I was concerned about.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Aye.
Thank you.
Approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a contract with Grant Connections for providing grant administrative services for the Bay Shore Drive Restore Act project. John?
This is a $2.4 million grant, no match, for Bay Shore Drive restoration. It's a project that the Coastal Resiliency Committee worked on for about almost 5 years now. The grant has been approved, we're waiting on the final contract. And so we're at the time now, we're ready to hire a grant administrator and also at the next agenda items, an engineer to do the final drawings on this project.
So the project, the grant administrator's costs are included in that $2.4 million?
Exactly, yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, is this the one that we were having confusion with NAV District? Is
No,
this the same
No,
thing?
that was on Little Bay.
Okay.
this is a city project.
The city
right?
project, the interlocal was approved last session and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
in the city's
Okay.
hands right now.
Good. Didn't know which one.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing county judge to sign a contract with Mott McDonald for preliminary engineering and the United States Engineering and the United States Corps of Engineers permit for shoreline resiliency project, Open Beach Road, extended north from Mesquite Street to the Contiki condos, funded through the Coastal Management Program.
Is the coastal management program, John, strictly funding the engineering work, or is they going to fund the entire project?
No, just funding the engineering work. This is just adding on to the resiliency projects that we had. It's some preliminary design, basically putting the abatements out in the water, showing them, and then applying for a core permit, which is good for 5 years.
What is the projected cost of that work?
The total cost for that project is an estimated $20 million.
I'm talking about only the engineering.
Oh, 90,000.
$90,000. Okay. Now the $20 million that you're talking
20
about
million's for the whole project.
for the whole project, and that's coming from where?
We have not got that yet. This is
Okay.
just in preliminary, in
And it-
preparing for it.
It is,
No, this will be the same scope of work that we did the other 3 projects where we're raising the road, we're restoring the shoreline, we're putting the abatements in.
I'd like to see us having the contract that David Reedy is more involved with the project.
It's his it'll be his roads, yes, sir.
Because I don't know, I feel like he's a better judge of engineering than what.
We would, okay. We would like to put this in it's going to be in the MIT.
Well, as a practical matter, they come back with the engineering work, and if we look at it and we got concerns about it or questions about it, that would be the time at that point in time.
Right, this will be like really preliminary. This is
Okay,
just
fair enough.
basically,
My concern is he been involved in the
Right.
preliminary where he can catch something before it ever
right.
gets too far along.
That ought to be our practice with anything that we do that deals with road and bridges that we may end up either with our ours or we may end up being ours.
And I would like to see something like that put in the contracts.
The engineering contract?
Coordinate with the county engineer.
Sure.
Question for John Strothman? I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Just to clarify, so are we saying this contract with Mott McDonald is for about $90,000 worth of services?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, do I have a
Make a motion to approve, Judge.
motion made?
With this, with the inclusion of the comment on
Sure.
coordinating with the county engineer.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Judge, I have a question on 18, not the motion, but just the way it's written. Is it Grant Connections or is it Grant Works?
It's the Grant Connections.
So
It's Greg Harlan.
Organization, right?
Yes,
Okay,
separate
thank you.
organization.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Did we vote?
Yes.
You did.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a contract with Mott McDonald for final engineering on Bay Shore Drive Shoreline Resiliency Project funded with and through the Restore Act Bucket 1 through Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
Same thing.
Same thing.
So final engineering to work prior to work, construction starts.
And what's
And that's
the
all
amount
covered
of
by-
fund?
That's all covered by grant funds.
Right. That, bear with me, that's like a $290,000 contract. It's 100% covered by the grant.
Okay. And we're doing this in conjunction with the city, so they've
Right.
signed off on this as well,
Right.
right? Okay.
Motion made and seconded, right?
Yeah.
No.
Second if we didn't second.
Motion made
Second.
and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Cool.
Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a lease agreement with Stewart Legacy Group on a long-term land lease for airport property for land upon which exists a box hangar and is purchasing from the current land lease tenant Donald D. and Jeanette Ray.
Mike, are you on?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It seems to me like we ought to terminate the old lease, which is item number 22, before we approve the new lease. It's on here backwards, but because
Yeah,
we're going to terminate the old lease.
Well,
Is
in
that
the, I
right?
think the way that we wrote the lease agreement, the contract is that the contract with Stewart Legacy is null and void if we don't terminate the lease with Donald and Jeanette Ray.
That would, I think Commissioner Smith is right. We
It
would
seems to me to make
terminate-
more sense to terminate the old lease first and sign the new one, but that's,
That could leave us without a lease though, if,
Right, the
That,
idea is you don't get rid of the old one until you have the new one in your hand. Contingent on termination of the old one.
I believe that we did put and I don't have that lease set in front of me, I apologize, but I believe we did put a clause in there toward the end that this lease, that we would not have a lease with Stewart Legacy without the termination of the Ray lease.
Right, so even if you approve the Stewart lease, it doesn't take
Correct.
effect until you take the second step. And this way you don't have any
that
possibility
way
of
we
following,
don't lose the lease.
Right.
not that it's gonna happen.
I move to approve.
which
Motion
one?
made by Commissioner Cheney, second
Second.
Commissioner Esterline.
Which one are we voting on? 22 or 21?
21.
21, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a lease termination letter for Donald D. and Jeanette Ray on their existing land lease.
Move to approve.
Motion made
Second.
and second Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss, approve, disapprove, county treasurer's report. Ms. Cartwright.
Total funds for the end of April is $30,342,873.69. Right at half of it in the depository bank, half of it in investments. Does anybody have any questions on it?
I got one quick question on the report by fund. We have a positive number in our capped projects. That's number 430. Normally that runs as a negative, and we get reimbursed after we spent the money, but somebody actually funded us ahead of time there.
Jackie probably could answer the grant money
There are
coming in.
insurance funds that have gone in there as well as the grant reimbursements. So yes, it is. a
So that's got
positive right
not only grants, but insurance funds. So those are some in,
With the Harvey project, yes, we did have the insurance and grant funds in the same account number.
how much of that million is actually unspent insurance fund? Do you know offhand?
There's probably about $500,000.
So still, we had somebody actually funding us in advance of doing the work.
Well, we just got that in May, so it's not gonna show up again.
That's just unusual. I've never seen it happen.
Very unusual.
Very unusual, okay. Other than that, I'd make a motion to approve the report.
Motion made,
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R11, 2020, a resolution approving Aransas County investment policy.
This and the next two resolutions is our annual review of our investment policy. No changes made to any of the investment rules or regulations or procedures.
Move to approve.
I'll second that. I have a comment. I tried reading that thing. You gotta be an investment banker or something to read that.
Nah.
Oh, that's hard.
Motion made,
I second it.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Approve, disapprove resolution R12, 2020, a resolution appointing Alma Cartwright, County Treasurer for investment officer.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made, seconded, Commissioner Castleton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Approve, disapprove resolution R13, 2020, a resolution acknowledging the broker dealer list and being authorized to provide services as required by Aransas County.
Move to approve.
Motion made,
Second.
second, Commissioner Cheney. All those in favor?
Judge,
Aye.
before we vote, Resolution 13, 2020.
Oh, whoever made the motion, yeah, right, it's right there.
This page 2.
Okay,
I vote aye.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Excuse me while I transfer paperwork, 612 feet. All right. Discuss, approve, disapprove county judge to sign a request for capital credits from the state of for the unclaimed property capital for counties to be and to allocate all such funds received to the literacy program at the library.
Do we have any idea how much those funds are?
We don't know how much we're going to get. Last year we got 7,600. The year before 3,900. It's just whatever unclaimed funds
Only
that
in our county then?
the co-ops are holding that people didn't claim.
Make a motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have one question. Is the email address correct?
Pardon me?
Is the email the county judge? Is it the county judge?
Yes, the county judge signs. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, it says THE county judge. Isn't it just county
Email.
judge?
It'll work.
It'll work. Okay, as long as it works.
Jack. Yes, sir. All right, we're motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove extension of rental support for South Texas Family Planning and Health Corporation, amount of $990 a month for the period of July 1st.
We missed 28, Judge.
Get the letter.
Back to 28. All right, let's go back up there. Authorizing Aransas County Treasurer to sign a promissory note disbursement request for authorization and notice of final agreement between Aransas County and Prosperity Bank for the automatic extension of the expiration date for the 1 year on the irrevocable standby letter of credit 1973 from Prosperity Bank to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, but said extension going through June 1st, 2021. The letter of credit covers financial assurances of Aransas County Transfer Station, amount of $10,200.
Motion
have
to
a-
approve, Judge.
I have a,
That motion take a little longer.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is 10,000 is 10,000 what it costs us to renew it for a year, or is that the amount of the total coverage for environmental risk?
That's the amount of coverage.
That's the amount of coverage.
I did ask TECQ every year. I do ask them when we renew it, if that is enough to cover it. And they again said that was plenty,
Okay, thank
That
you.
is a bond or?
sort of.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And now the rental agreement between Aransas County and South Texas Family Planning and Health Corporation. Corporation for the amount of $990 a month from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, to be paid for through healthcare sales tax.
How much of an increase is that?
That's no increase. I
increase.
have worked with them and their rent is staying the same. They do a lot of services for Aransas County, and the report that was sent to you shows all the numbers of what they did. They've actually still been open through the COVID thing and assisting people in different ways. So
Make a motion to approve.
Motion made.
thank you.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Castleline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove creating a public information officer position under the county judge at a group step 12-4 to continue the county's public communication and promote understanding of Aransas County programs, services, and activities. Position to be under, this position was paid for by the workforce grants, but will now be funded by grant administrative fees and FEMA reimbursement. Workforce decided that they could no longer fund that position after June 30th, so. for those-
Going forward, Judge, when you say going to be funded by grant administrative fees, that's on grants that we currently have and grants that we may work on in the future. And
Yes,
Right.
there's all the grant fees that, all of the CDBG, ER funds.
is FEMA going to have a reimbursement program as well?
Yes,
And what is the projected cost of this particular position?
Linda?
With burdens, it comes out to about 47,000.
So this has no effect on general fund or any,
No.
and will not in the future.
Do not know that answer.
And will this job,
We may make a decision later on.
so if we're changing workforce, will the job description expand
Yes.
into more?
Yes. It'd be more county orientated instead of long-term recovery and Harvey recovery. It will be Aransas County and transparency and communication to the public.
So can we make this person, delve into making meeting, information more available to the public?
Yes. And she'll probably be working with Colin on our webpage and different things for that.
Now,
Is this,
Are we
Pardon me?
are we hiring a specific person or creating a job description and putting it out for interviews?
We're keeping Deanna Spruce, who has been working for us.
And we're allowed to do that? We don't have to put it out for competition?
Right.
Under the terms of the grant that she's been on for the last 2 years has been, she could only do public information on federal grants and things like that. So her workload, now that we can expand her workload, so she can be doing a lot more Aransas County type stuff, plus the long-term recovery stuff.
Because of a discussion we had earlier in this meeting, would this person be responsible for disseminating information, for instance, like on a micro hospital?
Sure. Absolutely.
And we're comfortable with that. We don't need to post this position. We can just move her
I mean,
into
it's a
it.
brand new,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a brand new position. How is it that we don't have to put it out for interviews?
Well, Linda?
Linda?
Technically, since she's already a position within the county and she's been working for us, there's no reason why we can't move her into the position.
Okay,
Because it's already a position, we're just moving it from where it's at into an actual county position.
in order to change the funding sources.
Mhm.
I didn't.
Commissioners, this
This
is
is
Kat.
already there.
Can I raise a question real quick? Or just point something out. The public information officer position is refundable through FEMA PA under the ICS. I just want to make the long-term recovery team and the commissioners aware that we would need to, in order to make sure that this position was reimbursable for future disasters, we would need to make sure that the ICS requirements were met.
Right.
I need to clarify. I couldn't quite understand what people were speaking all at once. I thought that this was not currently a county position and that the agenda was describing the action of
No,
creating a new.
she's been working for us. She's been working for us, but being paid by
She's-
Workforce Solution
Oh, I
for a
understand that.
specific job.
I understand that. I remember when she came on, but she was working with the long-term recovery group, and this agenda item made it sound to me as if instead of being a long-term recovery group position, which used to be sort of shared by the city and county, we were creating a new purely county position. And I'm just asking this plural matter. That mean we're creating a new permanent position, which right now is expected to be her, but in the future could be someone else. And don't we need to treat it like a regular county employment issue with, job solicitations and so forth, interviews? Somebody just explain to me quickly why that doesn't apply, and I'll stop asking questions. But she's not currently a county employee, is she?
Is she currently a county employee?
Technically, no. She's
Pardon?
contracted to the
The
county.
contract is with the county, but no, she's not being paid directly right now from the county.
And doing a
Why don't we
short
just post?
I understand doing a short-term contract with her, that would be one way we don't have to deal with the employee issues, but it sounds like we're doing something different from a short-term contract contingent on funding. We are instead creating a permanent county employee position. And if we're doing that, don't we have to treat it differently?
No,
So
we can
why
always
don't-
list it.
Pardon?
So we can always list it in the paper.
Yeah, I would.
I don't know if I
recommend that
need
we
it or
post-
not, but I had questions about this.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get to you in just a minute, please.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I mean, or we could make it a contract.
So-
Make it simpler.
I think that we should go ahead and post it to
All right,
kind
well,
of cover
it-
ourselves.
If appropriate, I'd make a motion that we post the position of creating a public information officer. As,
Right.
as per our personnel policy.
So what we're taking
So what you'd
on
want to do is make,
a long-term obligation to, not just in the aftermath of the storm and for the next year or two while we have funding, but you're talking about a permanent, long-term position intended to last forever. Is that really what we want, or do we want a short-term
Right.
contract?
No, we want to,
Typically,
Aransas County
Commissioners,
been
typically
needing
for-
yeah. Ms. Russo, would you like to step in now, please? Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Judge. My questions were, has someone been hired for it, and will this job be posted? Because I believe it does need to be posted. I know you've changed the personnel policy since I left, but most jobs of this nature would require posting. And I also was curious if it was going to be permanent or just created for 1 to 2 years. I believe that Commissioner Smith asked what the dollar value of a 12.4 salary is, but I did not hear what the answer was. And then what are the associated benefits? I think that's about 40%. So could I hear what
I
the
think the
value?
the total is somewhere around 47,000 for the year with
And
benefits and
47,000
everything.
For the salary and benefits?
Yes.
All right.
Well, the agenda item appears to just create the position, not necessarily hire a particular person. So
Correct.
I would think that maybe we need to vote on the agenda item, and then
I agree.
it can be posted like we normally would, I would assume.
All right. The motion's been made to post publicly for this position. Do I have a second?
But
well,
I mean, the way the agenda, we've got to create the position. before we
create the
post it.
position,
Oh.
and this, you might,
Yeah.
if you want to amend that particular agenda item to create the position and post it for, just add and post for fulfillment.
Yeah.
I would make-
I agree with that. Do we need to mention in there that to be funded by grants, both currently and future? I mean, because
Well,
I
that's the
think
whole-
Ms. Russo.
That's a whole
Go
issue
ahead,
of
Wendy, I'm
whether
sorry.
Sorry, is that was just the whole issue I was trying to raise, and I think Pat too. If it's a permanent position, then it's interesting that we have funding for the next year or so, but we need to look into the future. What are we going to do later? If it's a contract position with a timeline on it, then we can say, well, it's a contract, it's paid for, it's budget neutral, it's simpler. If it's going to be a permanent position, we need to talk about how we're going to pay for it after the FEMA money and whatever the other source was runs out.
All right,
Well, I think the way it's actually on the agenda right now, it would run out when the grants run out. At least that
Well,
would
it
be
wouldn't-
my
It
interpretation.
says it will now be funded by grant administration fees and FEMA reimbursements.
And what it
when that
does
stops,
it will terminate when that stops. It doesn't say that. It's a permanent position. We haven't said that it automatically winks out of existence as soon as we run out of grant money.
if it's funded by the grants, when the grants run out, the position is not going to be funded anymore. So
Well, the motion then should
I
be
guess that-
amended to be clear that we are creating a temporary position, which will automatically terminate when the grant funding terminates. It doesn't say that now.
Well, we don't really have any temporary positions that are full employees.
Right, that's
It
why a
doesn't really
contract,
say that it's a permanent position either, though.
if it doesn't say otherwise, you have to assume it is. And if we don't want it to be, we should make it a contract.
Well, but in light of what follows in that, I think it clearly states that it's going to be paid for by grant administration fees and FEMA reimbursements. I think you're making an assumption.
Then it should be clarified in the motion that we're creating a temporary position to be terminated automatically when the grant funding terminates.
Ms. Dillon, do you have something to add?
Yeah, if this is, we don't know how long the grants and all of that's gonna last. We can't make a temporary position that's gonna last for 1 to 2 or 3 years. So
Yeah.
it needs to be a full-time position.
And
But we
if
could
if
do a
we
contract.
move it under, if we move it under county auspices, then that goes way beyond what the definition, federal definition of temporary employee is.
Mhm.
Well, why wouldn't you just make it a permanent job, but say that it expires?
Yeah, when you
When the
run out of
grants-
funding, you can always just then at that point review whether or not you want to maintain the position or if
I
you want
think-
to make it go away.
Okay,
They'd be appropriate to
so
change your motion to that, Jack.
Okay.
When the grant
Let me
runs out.
withdraw mine and let you do it. Bob.
I would move to approve the job with the stipulation that when the grant funds run out, the job will basically end and have to be reauthorized to continue.
I'll second that.
Can we do that, Linda? That sounds like a temporary position.
It sounds to me like you're trying to make it a temporary position again. So
Maybe that
to
the
be
best we
funded
could
by
do,
grants.
if it's not going to be a contract that's automatically, got a term on it, the best you can do is create the position with the sort of public announcement that you intend to terminate the position at some point in the future if you run out of money. But it's, in the meantime, it's a permanent position. Unless and until somebody terminates it formally through, a future meeting.
Well, Commissioners Court has the authority to create and to do away with any position that's not constitutionally set forth. So if we run out of funds for it, then we can just simply do away with it.
Right, you're free to do that in the future. It'll just
All right.
be later.
Subject to future budget considerations. Yeah.
Everything.
But everything's
Commissioner Smith,
subject to
everything's
that.
Subject to future
Yeah.
budget consideration.
Every year you're reevaluating whether or not you're going to keep the positions you currently have and if you have the funding for
I'm
it.
gonna second Commissioner Castellan's
I think
motion.
that Commissioner Cheney, we go into budget every year and we discuss personnel needs and we can, if necessary, contract our personnel at that time. But I would just say subject to budgetary restraints.
I don't have a problem with that.
all right, do I have a motion of any kind yet?
I would make a motion, Judge, to approve the position as it's currently stated, subject to, and for longevity
Wait a
purposes.
minute, Jack, you started something. You
Yeah,
wanna
I
retract?
withdrew my motion and the motion now lies with Commissioner Castellan.
Or-
And I'll withdraw mine and pass the Commissioner Smith.
I would say to create the information officer position, the top, as it says right there. The length of this position would be subject to budgetary conditions.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Oh, wait a minute. Is it unanimous? Commissioner
That-
Lovett?
It is if does the motion need also to include the fact that we're going to post it, that we're not hiring a specific person? Or is that just understood? do you
We
think?
just created the position. Now we'll post.
Yeah, anytime we create a position, we must post it. I believe that's correct, isn't it, Ms. Stone?
Okay. All right. Now it'll be posted now.
I did vote yes.
Okay. Approve, disapprove, authorizing county judge to enter into and sign the renewal agreement with the Texas Association of Counties for Employment Health Insurance for 2020, 2021 plan year.
Who presented this on there? Linda?
Linda.
Am I reading this correctly? Or our insurance costs are going to go down?
Forgot to bring my backup paperwork with me. I'm sorry. I had a new hire this morning.
Under any one of the three proposed options that go down?
Yes. So I just basically need you guys to make the determination as to whether you want to go with option A, B, or C.
Today?
Yes, so that we can sign the paperwork and send it
Are
off to
there
them.
any changes in the policy?
No, the policy is the same. I believe it was what, $20 difference that we're saving per month per employee. So you just
Well, on
need to
different
make,
grades, you're saving.
for the
depending on-
employee only version,
Yeah.
yes.
But which one is one that you're recommending?
Considering that it's only a $20 decrease, I'm recommending that the county takes that benefit for the county. It's not going to make a significant difference. You're only looking at like $121 annually for each employee savings there. And the employees that have dependents are still getting a reduction there as well. So,
So you're recommending option A?
yes.
Real quickly, Linda, what's the difference among A, B, and C?
Option A is the county takes the credit. Option C is if you give the credit to the employees. And option C was to split the savings between the county and the employee.
And which one is it that you're recommending?
A.
Thank you.
Well, right now, the employees are only paying $45 a month. So I mean, if you take the full savings and you apply it to the employees, then they would be paying, what is it, 20 something?
I'd make a motion to approve the renewal agreement and indicate option A is this.
Motion
Preferred.
made.
I'll second that.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Doing a good job, Ms. Stone.
Budget line item transfer.
Yep, you missed
Specific
32.
Incentive program.
Oh.
Tax sent this along. We have to make a decision one way or the other. The options that they're wanting to know are listed there. Whether or not you would be interested in implementing a county-specific incentive, which would basically be if you wanted to take the extra dollars that we are saving from the county insurance pool, you could say that we may give an employee a discount on their portion of their insurance if they meet certain requirements. TAC would come in and help us figure out what those requirements would be. Generally, it's things like going and actually getting an annual physical once a year. They have to prove that they did it. I wouldn't have to monitor most of that. They've got it set up through our Healthy County Sonic Boom. So they would monitor it. They let us know if they earned it, and then they would just get a discount. Or we could offer like a PTO, an extra PTO if they met those certain specific requirements.
So we have
An extra day off
We have
that
three
would be paid
choices
for.
today under this.
We have to choose one of them.
Yeah,
You don't
one.
have to necessarily choose
I
that
would
you
make a
want to.
I'd make a motion to authorize county judge to sign it. We are interested in learning more about CSI as to the total cost involved in it.
Okay,
That would be my motion.
Motion made,
Second.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Unanimous. All right, now the budget line item transfers, which we know there are none.
We have none.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made and seconded.
Second.
All those in favor, unanimous. Payroll, accounts payable, payroll and payroll liabilities.
They're all normal, but I just wanted to let court know that this run includes a check that would be required to correct our finding with the auditors
Yeah.
for the court, the district court registry of the court.
That's 4,000 some
About
dollars.
$4,600. Yes, sir.
Move to
And
approve.
and it's included in this.
Motion made,
Second.
Commissioner Cheney, second, Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, this is the time any elected official or department head has any announcement they'd like to make. Now's the time.
We do have a fees report.
Oh, yes, let's do the fees report. I'm
and
sorry.
It is not good.
Uh-oh.
This is March's fees report, and if you'll see, we're down about 37,000, almost $38,000 in collections. Majority of it looks like it's JP1 and district clerk. Has a lot to do with what's been closed. Probably next
Jackie, I didn't get a copy of the fees
I neither.
report. Did you pass, did you put them in the
I
agenda?
didn't pass them out.
Okay, fair
You
enough.
got- They were in, you should have gotten one email, but I have one. with me.
Well, I'm saying that for Mr. Probst because he'll come looking for it.
I
so.
have two, so. I have one for him, and if you need it, Commissioner, I can.
That's fine.
All right. Anything else?
I want to make a personal observation on the transfer station. I go out there 3 or 4 times a week. They really have a good staff out there now. I want to congratulate Valerie for putting together such a really good staff. I mean, out there in the rain and they've got several really good people out there now.
Okay, thank you.
Just one, thank you.
That being noted. Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn, Judge.
Motion made.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.